3部分呢，我们就来讲解一下这2套题的第4和第6题。首先，我们来看一下26套题的第4题。那么同样的，我们先阅读一段材料，大家一定要注意我们要解释的哪些词，然后它周围的信息又是怎样的。In forest, the canopy produced by the upper layer of branches may be so dense that few plants can grow on the shady ground below. Even so, many plants have adapted to life in the rainforest, developing fascinating strategies for survival. For example, virus species known as epiphytes use a host plant as a platform for growth. Although epiphytes grow on the host tree, they take no nutrients from the tree itself. Attached to the tree, sometimes 30 or 40 meters high, these aerial plants have access to sunlight but not to nutrients from the soil below. As a result, they have developed unusual mechanisms that have allowed them to overcome this problem. 我一看这段材料啊，解释的就是那种附生植物，就附着在别的植物上生长的。然后看一下这个题目啊，对咱们的要求。首先我们要理解这个附生植物它的原理，从那个 reading material 里面吸取一些知识，然后呢 use the example of the arm plant, explain how epiphytes have adapted to life in the rainforest. 你先要理解 what is this， 然后继续呢 use the example of arm plant。所以说咱们就知道咱们应该由哪几个部分来组成咱们的答案了。然后知道题目的要求以后啊，咱们也是先一起来听一下听力。
Now listen to part of a lecture from a biology class.
Okay, so a good example of this type of plant, common to the rainforest, is the earn plant. The earn plant wraps its roots around the branches of the trees, or sometimes around the trunk near the upper part of the tree. They use the trees for support, and this allows them to reside high in the trees, in the canopy, where they can get plenty of sunlight. Now, the earn plant has a unique shape. It got its name because the formation of its leaves creates a kind of urn or bowl where it can store water. The earn plant has rather long, stiff, spiky leaves. The leaves are slightly overlapping and are tightly rolled into a kind of cone shape, or a funnel shape. Its flowers are held on a single stem in the center. Anyway, as I mentioned, the arrangement of the leaves forms a kind of receptacle, or bowl, at the base, so that as rainwater collects on the leaves, it rolls down into the bowl, where it can be stored. Okay, so its unique shape helps it gather and store water. It also helps it to gather other nutrients. This is because insects, dead leaves from other plants, or other debris land on the leaves and then get washed down into the stored water. Gradually, they decompose. The chemical breakdown creates a nitrogen-rich food source in the stored water. So, the water supply contains a kind of liquid fertilizer that can be released to the plant whenever it needs the food.
好的，听完听力后呢，咱们就知道咱们要解释的这个 plant 是什么样长成的。The earn plant wraps its roots around the branches of the trees or sometimes around the trunk near the upper part of the tree. 它是怎么生长的？ They use the trees for support, and this allows them to reside high in the trees, in the canopy where they can get plenty of sunlight. Now, the earn plant has a unique shape, and it helps the earn plant gather and store water. 它自身的特点 It also helps it to gather other nutrients. This is because insects, dead leaves from other plants, or other debris land on the leaves, and then they can get washed down into the stored water. Gradually, they decompose so that the water supply contains a kind of liquid fertilizer that can be released to the plant whenever it needs it. 这个地方就完全靠咱们听力中提取的内容了。首先在 reading material 理解的基础上再听听力就会对我们帮助比较大了。然后接着来看一下下一套题的第4题，还是同样的要看一下这段材料让咱们解释什么。Some insect species live in large groups or swarms. Such swarms typically include several thousand individual insects. Living in swarms allow these insects to accomplish complex tasks together through complex behaviors. The behavior of the insects as a group demonstrates a greater level of complexity than the behavior of individual group members. 也就是说成群结队比单独出发、单独做事要复杂的多，而且有用的多了。This complex group behavior is called swarm intelligence. 我们一看有一个些限定的词，对不对？还有一些词我们可以用得上的，原文照抄也是没有问题的。With swarm intelligence, each insect performs a simple instinctual behavior that is repeated by other individuals that results in a complex behavior. Insect swarms are able to accomplish tasks that individual insects would not be able to achieve. 人多力量大。然后理解了，这道题考察的就是什么 ？Swarm intelligence。然后呢，我们需要在听听力听到那个 sample 的基础上来解释一下 What is swarm intelligence？ 首先，咱们第一步是不是要给出一个定义，对不对 ？What is swarm intelligence？Swarm intelligence。那么第二步呢，就是 examples。所以呢，我们需要从听力中听到这个 sample， 然后知道题目和作答的内容以后咱们就先来一起听一下听力。
Now listen to a lecture on this topic in a biology class.
Okay, we can see a great example of this with ants. Ants live in large groups called colonies. They normally move together to get to food sources. And sometimes when ants are moving toward a food source, they'll encounter or find an obstacle in their path. So, for instance, let's say a large number of ants are walking on a tree toward some food on a branch. But when they reach the end of the branch they're walking on, there's a wide space between that branch and the next one, the branch with the food on it. Now, none of these ants alone can cross this wide space to get to the other branch with the food. So, how do they solve this problem? Here's how. One ant walks forward until it reaches the end of the branch, and then it automatically holds onto the branch with its back legs. Then it stretches its body forward into the open space. Now, this comes naturally to ants, and it's a simple action. So then the next ant walks to the end of the branch and right across the first ant's body. Then it holds on to the first ant, and then it stretches its body out into the open space, just a little bit closer to the branch with the food on it. Then, one after another, other ants do the same thing, until enough ants connect together to form a bridge between the two branches. Pretty amazing, huh? The connected ants hold this position, allowing the rest of the ants in the group to cross over this bridge of ants to reach the food.
那么听力过后呢，咱们就依据这两个部分来作答。首先呢，第一个部分 Swarm intelligence is a phenomena that insects as a group will demonstrate greater complexity than the behavior of an individual member. 基本照抄。The result is they may perform some complex tasks that an individual insect can't complete. 这是它的一个特点，就是人多力量大。Just like the example of ants. When a large group of ants walk on a tree in search of some food, they find that there is a wide space between the trees and the food. Any single ant alone can't cross the space. Therefore, what they do is that one ant works forward to the end of the branch and holds onto the branch, and then it stretches its body forward so that the next ant can walk across it. 蚂蚁的智慧。The next ant does the same thing. Then one after another, they form a bridge so that the rest of the ants can cross over to reach the food. So this is how swarm intelligence works. 最好啊，最后有个结语，这样啊非常明白。但是如果没有时间的话也没有关系，这不是题目所必须的。我们接着看一下第6题。那么第6题呢，全靠咱们听力了。咱们可以从审题当中呀知道一些信息，它要考察什么，它题目和听力中啊涉及什么内容。Using examples from the talk, explain 2 ways that a product's container can be designed to appeal customers. 也就是产品的外观呀是如何设计出来，然后呢去吸引消费者的。然后知道这样一个题目的内容啊，咱们就知道2种，对不对？2种方式。所以在听听力的时候可以有针对性的去听，先理解题意，然后知道题目的要求，咱们就一起来听一下听力。
Listen to part of a lecture from a business class.
When consumers are buying a product, most of the time they're not buying just the product itself. They're also buying the container the product comes in. So the design of the container is very important. It can be the deciding factor when consumers are trying to decide which brand of a product to buy. So let's talk about a couple of ways product containers can be designed to appeal to consumers. One important design goal is to make the container as user-friendly as possible, as convenient to use as possible. Take, for example, when companies started using plastic containers for condiments, such as ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise. In the past, these products came in glass containers with lids you had to screw off, and then you had to either pour the ketchup or mustard on your food, which could be messy, or scoop it out with a spoon. But flexible plastic containers were much more convenient to use, and so they were more attractive to consumers. You just held the container over your food, gave it a little squeeze, and out came the ketchup or mustard. Much faster and easier than having to remove a lid first. Another important design goal is to give the container a pleasing appearance, so that consumers will feel comfortable displaying it in their home. Take, for example, a company that sells cookies. Instead of selling their cookies in a plain cardboard box, they might sell them in a nice metal box. And they might decorate that nice metal box with beautiful pictures of some kind. That way, when consumers present the cookies to guests, for example, they look nice, they look classy. Attractive containers like that can make a product much more appealing.
好的，听力过后呢，咱们就来总结一下咱们的答案了。According to the lecture, the professor talks about a couple of ways that a product's container can be designed to appeal to customers. 或者是 consumers， 基本上啊，你知道2种，你就可以说 2 ways。前面最好是有一个这样的一个总结，一个概括，其实是有了这样一个概括以后啊，引领着咱们来回答问题，也让咱们理清思绪了。The first way， 那么第一个 ，to make the container as user-friendly as possible， 那么更容易使用了 ，as convenient to use as possible. For example.When companies started using plastic container for condiments, such as ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, 这样一些酱啊，蛋黄酱呀，然后番茄酱呀，肯定是不方便用这个玻璃瓶呀或者什么的硬装的。In the past, these products came in glass containers with keys you had to screw off, which could be troublesome and messy.But flexible plastic containers were much more convenient to use, and so they are more attractive to consumers. 那么这是第一种。Then Professor mentions another way. Giving the container a pleasing appearance, 那么外包装啊好看一些。For example, cookies in a nice metal box with pretty pictures of some kids is more popular than which sells with a cardboard box.Attractive containers can make a product more appealing. 也是啊，总结一下，总结这一小部分，就会比较完整了。我们接着呢来看下一套题的第6题。Using the examples from the lecture, explain 2 developments that allowed ancient Roman cities to expand. 那么古代啊，罗马城市是如何扩张的？有2种啊。方法 two developments， 他们技术上的进步。那么这两种进步是什么？所以知道题目的要求还有两种，咱们就一起来听一下听力。
Listen to part of a lecture in a history class.
So, most cities of the ancient world tended to be small, often limited to the banks of a river. They had very little means to expand. These old cities couldn't really cross natural barriers like rivers, or be located very far from water sources. But Roman cities, on the other hand, grew much larger. How did this happen? Well, for one thing, the Romans had more advanced technology. Let's look at a couple of Roman developments that allowed their cities to expand. One development that allowed Roman cities to grow was their advanced building materials. The Romans developed a special kind of concrete, a building material that would harden underwater. And this concrete made new kinds of structures possible. Take their bridges, for example. Because of this special concrete, they could build better bridges, bridges that could go across wide rivers, bridges that were big enough to transport equipment and materials with wagons and carts. So with these strong bridges, Roman cities could grow on both sides of the river, creating larger cities than would have been possible otherwise. Another development that helped Roman cities expand was an improved way to move fresh, clean water. People need access to fresh water, and the Romans created an especially effective way to bring it to them. They built structures called aqueducts. Now, aqueducts are a series of open channels, waterways that stretch from water sources high in the mountains to cities. They were carefully planned and built so that a steady drop in altitude provided a steady flow of water to cities. These aqueducts could move a tremendous amount of water over great distances, and even bring fresh water to places far from rivers. Because of this, people could have clean water for drinking and bathing without being located near a river. So cities were able to grow larger in new locations.
那么听力过后呢，咱们就有针对性的回答这个问题。那么首先总括 ，There are two developments that allowed Roman cities to expand. The first development was that they had an advanced building material. 那么建筑材料非常的先进 ，which is concrete that hardens underwater. So the Romans could build bridges that cross wide rivers and transport wagons and cars. Therefore, cities were able to grow on both sides of the river, which created bigger cities. The second development, 那么第二种 is an effective way to move clean water. They could build aqueduct, a channel, to create a steady flow of water. So this structure could move water over a great distance. So people could have clean water without needing to be located near the river. Therefore, the cities could grow much bigger. 那么同样的，建议大家用一个 conclusion， 但是没有也没有关系。那么这就是第6题了。以上呢就是咱们今天讲课的全部内容了，非常感谢。